Right then, today is the big day. Engine and gearbox coming out of the donor truck. So I've been doing quite a few bits in between, but there's so much going on at the minute, I don't know what I've recorded and what I haven't. I've got the main loom to get out, which weirdly I need for the gearbox conversion. And then there's the engine and gearbox themselves to get out. Steering rack still in there. And a few of the little bits, and then basically that's it, the end of the line for the donor van, if you like. I've put the chassis up for sale, but I haven't really had any takers, so we'll give it a little bit longer. But yeah, it looks like the old Britain truck will be going to the scrapyard in the sky. But I mean, I've made a fair whack back of it. I sold the seats, the mat, the headliner. May have sold the axle today, and then I've still got an engine to sell as well. We're going to just cut the front clean off, just so we've got easy access to it, undo all the engine mounts, undo all the other bits and bobs, auxiliary stuff, and then just hoist the engine out with gearbox, hopefully. And I've just realised now that I'm nearly there, I didn't bring any ratchet straps.
Before the engine could come out, there was a few more items that needed to be unbolted. There was the engine mounts, exhaust, a few more pipes, prop shaft and the gearbox mount, and then the engine would be free to lift. Rather than try to navigate the engine over this ridiculously rusty front end, we opted to remove it. I mean, Jeff made the suggestion, and I think it's so he could play with this. With the crash bar now out of the way and us totally not making a torture chamber for my knees, we could now get to the last few remaining pieces with ease. Now for the fun bit. We had to navigate the engine out of its bay without catching on any obstacles. The gearbox was still strapped on the back, so the engine was favouring to lean backwards, meaning at many different intervals we had to stop and rejig the gearbox or the engine. And whilst doing this, we were trying to avoid crushing limbs and not having 3/4 of a ton of engine land on anyone's toes. In the heat of it all, I seem to have forgotten the very point of this mission, the fact that the manual gearbox is a manual and it has extra parts attached to it that I forgot to remove. So the engine went nowhere. Fortunately for me, we didn't pull too hard and nothing got damaged there. Close shave though, and as if by magic, with them removed, the engine just flew out. And there we have it, one of Mercedes' best engines strapped to the holy grail of my life, with a manual gearbox, removed and sat patiently waiting for some TLC and the big transplant. Next I moved on to the wiring loom removal, which meant removing the whole dash. But like everything on a Mercedes, it wasn't going to come out without a fight, hiding behind many of its counterparts.
Oh, there we go. How about that then? You stay there for a second. Oh, that's better. Oh my god. Oh shit. Something just went. Past the point of caring. Right, now I can get to all the loom which I need. I've left the camera back at the unit in Emma's van, so I'm currently recording on my iPhone, which actually looks
Colour wise anyway, better than the Osmo. It's embarrassing. Ow. You. It's full of HVAC and stuff. Just label that up. ECU, there you are, you little bastard. Along with all the main bulk of the loom. That's a loom, nearly out. Come on. Haha. There be the linkages. I might need new ones because they're getting a little bit looser. Oh, this is just getting in my way. New plan. Now it's out of the way. Have that. That bit out, just down to there, onto the ECU, and we're nearly out. I make it sound so easy, and if only it was, but no, it wasn't. The only reason there's music playing right now is because throughout the entire process, it sounded like this.
Oh, this is the most frustrating thing. Come on. What are you stuck on now, you f***ing bastard? One more. You, and the little dials up there are basically what I paid for the full van for. This is going to be one weird hybrid truck when I'm done with it. That, this wire here, they've actually trapped it. Here. They've actually trapped it behind the dash itself, and this is, I think that's spot welded on. Don't see that in a German built vehicle very often. Oh my god, look at it all. And this is a vehicle from 2001. Oh, you're a completely different loom as well. Okay. Let's separate you then. I don't know what you are. What are you?
It was the last plug of the dashboard, meaning the wiring loom was now free to come out. Of just the dashboard, the rest of the loom now runs down the engine bay underneath the van and pops up under both seat plinths. Any logical thinking company would have thought, let's make a channel in the floor so the wiring can go straight from the dashboard to the seats and the fuse boxes. But no, Mercedes don't do that, do they? No.
Got a rubber? Yes. Well done, you. Ooh.
Well, that was a successful day. A few more little bits to get off that, and then we're done with this old truck. With the truck nearly stripped down complete now, this is where most of it's ending up. Steering rack, brake master, washer fluid, that's all interior trim. This is all pedals and engine components. There's a few of the bits below. There's other bits. This one's one of the looms. The other loom's yet to go in there. A lot of stuff's actually been sold now. Headliner, mats, seats, yeah, a lot of that's gone. But yeah, just filling this place to the brim with sprinter parts. Oh dear, won't be long. It'll be on the truck.
Speaking of the other loom, it was now on the floor outside, all segmented up and ready to be neatly tucked away to save on any tangling issues.
Gonna try and sort this now into what you brake cylinder. Up there. Yeah, I'm going to try and sort this so I can hopefully unravel it properly when we come to fit it. But oh my god, has today made it obvious how daunting this task is. And the floor. Yeah, I've basically got to get my van to the same level of strip down in the cabin engine bay as what the van is at the moment. I've got basically everything off it now that I need. I'm doing all the talking because now you can actually hear me all day today. We've had a sandblasting wagon next to me and you just couldn't hear yourself think, so majority of footage over I don't know how many days is probably just going to be a time lapse and some fancy music. You probably, oh dear, probably shouldn't have been scrawled across the floor, but you'll be alright. Dash, main indicator, right, you, on there. Oh my god. It's also impressive how heavy it is.
It was now the last day for the other Sprinter. All I had to remove was the steering rack and a few trim pieces, but Jeff had asked if he could have the front hubs for another project he had going on. So guess what came back out to play? It was around this point, the last day, that I'd realised the muff on the new microphone was actually getting in shot and slowly creeping down throughout the days, to the point it got so far into the shot, it now looks like the van has a beard. This, coupled with all the audio issues it's given me, is pretty much the final straw for me in this mic, as I casually lose my rag with it. Look at him, he just can't help himself. And that was it for the other Sprinter. She may have parked into this spot under her own steam, but she was now being lifted off it with a forklift. But what a haul. I've got basically a whole other Sprinter in spares and repair parts, even down to parts I didn't think about. The wiper mech, for example, it's highly unlikely that's been replaced in mine, meaning it's done 330 odd thousand miles of rotating. This has only done 58,000 miles and would have only worked half of the year. So while everything's stripped on mine, it makes sense to even swap things like the wiper mech and the HVAC, revitalising every aspect of my van. We got it shifted down the yard and ready to be loaded onto a flatbed, owned by Jeff's friend Scotty, who was kind enough to load the Sprinter up for me and take it down for its final journey.
A little bit different when she came in.
While we were waiting for them to arrive, I thought I'd better make a start on the clean-up operation. The van had spilled many different fluids all over the floor, but with some sweeping, some sand and a bit of truck wash, we'd get it up. As we were clearing out the yard and getting rid of some last bits of scrap, Scotty arrived. Throughout this entire project and strip down of this van, I've only ever looked at it as a goal to get mine back on the road. I hadn't really thought about it as even a vehicle in my ownership. I'd driven it once and not on a public road. In the first hour of it arriving, I was pulling it apart. I hadn't even named it like I do with all my other vehicles, it was just the other Sprinter. But as it sat here strapped to its newer counterpart, it hit me that it was my vehicle and has played a pretty massive part in this chapter, even if it didn't get any love.
That's a lot for a donor van.
I know it's kind of dumb and in reality has no truth to it, but I've always humanised my vehicles. My classic minivan, for example, she was an old lady and needed coaxing into life. She didn't like going into second gear until you're at 2000 RPM, and don't you dare go over 65 or she'll let you know it. Amber's the same, tough old bird. Up until recently she was valiant, even with the biggest of ailments. She didn't break down, she kept on going and getting me where we needed to be. I knew little of this truck's history and felt none of this connection to it, but as I stood here watching it being carried off to its final place of rest, I still felt bad that it was by my hand that it was soon to be a cube.